Michelle. This video is called The One Big Mistake Most Circlers Make and How to Fix It, which I'm mostly using as a title because I find it amusing, and the real title of the video should be The Thing Sometimes People Do That Bugs Me, and how I can tell you about it so that you stop doing it, and therefore I stop being as annoyed, to be honest. So I wanted to make this video because this is something that causes me pain when I see it. And I also think that it doesn't get at what seems to be the goal of circling in most styles, which is to get somebody's world, or to get close to someone, to feel less lonely, feel connection, we've shared reality. Whatever you call it, it requires getting someone else to feel comfortable enough that they're willing to let you into their world, which actually requires a lot of safety. It's very vulnerable to share who we are with other people. And there's something that I see in circles sometimes, which is a form of subtle or overt blame or shame. And when I feel that, I personally shut down. And when I see other people do it, I feel a desire to protect whoever's being circled. This can look like saying, I'm bored, or I can't feel you, or are you really feeling that? It's not that these things aren't true, like you definitely might feel bored, but if I hear that, what I actually hear is like, you're not interesting, or I can't feel you is sometimes you're doing this wrong. Or if you say, I want to know what you're really feeling, what I might hear is, I think you're lying. All of these, I think, are ways of essentially distancing ourselves from the other person without really meaning to a lot of the time. But if we don't feel safe, if we feel like, oh, this is going to be a person I feel bored around, or they're not really going to tell me what they're feeling, I try to get them to change. And we say that circling is a practice where nobody is supposed to change, but in reality, we're changing each other every moment. And I think if we want to have a positive effect in circling, this is something we need to pay attention to, because it's actually a pattern of communication that a lot of us come to circling to avoid. People aren't with us when we're feeling difficult experiences. They give us advice, they judge us, they blame us. And so if we're doing that in subtle ways to each other, we're not only perpetuating the thing that we come here to avoid, but we're also doing it in a place where the other person is really vulnerable. So the tool that I want to give you guys is the idea of making right, not making wrong, which is anytime I feel myself wanting to distance from the other person or judging them in some way, my instant reaction that I try to cultivate is to get curious, either about them or about me, which could be like, I'm curious, like, what are you feeling right now? You say you feel sad, but in my body I actually feel kind of numb. And maybe that's about me, and maybe it's in connection with you, but I want to check in. Like, what's the sadness like? I'm assuming that they have a quality of sadness, if it's true for them, that may be influencing my experience in a way that I don't expect, or that maybe they're not feeling sad, but they have a reason not to tell me that they, don't feel sad. People's realities are congruent. Their subjective reality is as true as mine is. So if I'm assuming that my reality of not feeling them is more true than what they're saying, I'm missing something about them. And oftentimes I may be missing the most crucial thing. Like, why would someone not feel comfortable to tell me that they're sad? That's a fascinating line of inquiry, and maybe I feel the same a lot of the time. So I'm missing something valuable if I don't check in. I'm bored. Another way of saying that is I'm starting to lose focus. And then you can give them something. Like, I felt you most when you talked about your fear of getting close to us. Is that still alive? Like, don't ignore your experience. There's nothing wrong with it. But can you say it? Can you check yourself before you speak and get curious? Like, what am I feeling? Can I reveal that? What is leading to my assumption that the other person isn't sharing their truth with me, or is doing something that's meant to hurt me, like withholding, or judging me, maybe, or even lying? Like, if it seems like they're lying, it's like, wow, I feel scared right now. I imagine that what you're saying isn't honest, or isn't actually what you're feeling. And I want to know, like, what is your experience right now? Do you hear that I feel scared? Like, does that matter to you? What does? I think this is actually how communication works, is we find a way to come in with each other through each other's language, through curiosity. I judge people a lot, and trying to find curiosity has been one of the best tools that I have, and I really desperately want us to do it in circling. So essentially, I'm judging you for judging other people. And that's hypocritical, but I'm doing it because I feel pain when I see other people drawing back or putting up their shields or feeling judged. And I want to control your behavior to stop myself from feeling that pain, from my mirror neurons picking up on someone else's and giving me a reaction. And I think that's why we judge people a lot of the time, is to keep ourselves from feeling pain. And what I really want is to come sit beside you, and I want to ask, are you hurting? Because I am too on some level. Are you scared? I get scared too. Let's feel that together.